Week 10 finds the Saints coming to town, and they'll be looking to rebound from last week's surprising overtime loss to the Marcus Mariota-led Tennessee Titans. At 3-5 and 4-5 respectively, both teams are struggling to maintain third place in their divisions, so both teams will be looking for a win to stay relevant to the NFC playoff picture. On Washington's side, Kirk Cousins will have to exploit a questionable secondary if he has any hope of keeping pace with New Orleans' productive offense. Could be quite a show. We'll break it down for you next on the Hawk Side.
It's the Hog Style.
All right, ladies and gents, we are back with you. My name's Sean. I forgot to do intros last week, so if you've forgotten who here is on the Hog Style, we will remind you. Steve Thomas.
Hello, everyone. How are you guys doing today?
Alex Zeese.
Hey.
And Mr. Robbie Duncan.
What's up?
I'll tell you what's up. We're gonna take the Saints on, and we're gonna eke out a win here. One of the few games that we could maybe possibly win for the second half of this season. That's what's up.
Really?
At least
you
I
really
hope.
Think so?
Yeah. We'll go with
Golly.
I hope and I think maybe possibly. So anyways, yeah, Saints should be interesting. By the way, I was scoping out stuff to look into to look into the game. Right now, if you check out Rob Ryan's Wikipedia page, it says Rob Ryan is an American football coach who will soon be unemployed with the New Orleans Saints. Which tells you something about, New Orleans defense coming into this game.
Yeah. He is not his brother.
No, God, he's like his anti-brother. But anyways.
He's a fat dude. He's a fat Jeff Lebowski.
They're both fat.
Hey, man, I'm going to call a blitz here, I hate the Eagles, so I'm going to blitz them, man.
The other Ryan has lost a ton of weight, actually.
Yeah. They don't look like identical twins anymore, but yeah.
Good for him. Good for you, Rex.
I still can't stand the guy. Rex Ryan's still obnoxious, but he's a slimmer obnoxious.
The real sexy Rexy.
He's a healthy obnoxious.
Yeah, there you go. He's a healthy obnoxious.
Yeah.
Well, in terms of news and stuff that's relevant to this game, we have signed a new center. If you did not see, Mr. Brian De La Puente, hopefully I'm saying that right. Don't know much about him other than he's a former Saint and spent some time with the Bears before, I guess, Alex, you knew he was injured last year, I believe you were saying?
I believe he was on IR after preseason or very early in the season last year.
Okay.
He's 30 years old, I believe, and has started 50 games.
Okay.
Yeah.
He had a cup of coffee with us a couple off seasons ago.
Really?
He came in for a visit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he came in for a visit and things didn't work out and he went to the Saints.
I have absolutely no recollection of that.
Now we have him.
Well, it's good. I think if nothing less, it means we have a good backup.
Right.
But, there have already been rumors that he could replace Rib.
He will.
Call me.
He will.
Call me
He's
nervous.
just not ready yet.
Call me nervous. When you sign a guy literally off the street and he's going to come right in and be a starter and at a key position, that doesn't.
Well, I don't think he will this week.
Well, yeah. They brought him in to replace Laribus and get him acclimated. They're not going to just throw him to the Wolves and start Sunday. Laribus has it until La Puente is ready to go.
He's got to learn things.
He is better than Laribus.
Why was he on the
market? He's a really good center.
Why was he not playing football this year?
I'm not sure exactly, but he was. I'm not saying he's like outstanding or anything, but he's definitely better than Josh Laribus.
Steve, it's the basics of football. He's 30 plus, and he's coming off a major injury.
You're right.
Oh, I know why. They traded Jimmy Graham for Max Unger.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, that's right.
The Seahawks. So Max Unger is their center now. That's why.
And somehow the Saints have not missed a beat.
They just upgraded. He wasn't bad, but they upgraded over him.
Yeah.
No, they haven't missed a beat, and that is a great thought. I wanted to say one thing quick before we start previewing the game more specifically. I don't know if you guys heard the story Chad Dukes was talking about on his show this week. It was on 980.
Well, Chad Dukes would be 106.7.
No, I know. I'm saying it was on both. Mumbles and grumbles coming out of New Orleans. Obviously, there's potential that Mr. Sean Payton would not necessarily be back to coach the rest of his contract. So the story was, is this a potential landing spot for Sean Payton if he were to depart New Orleans? Interesting question, I think.
Why would the Saints do that, though? He's a good coach. He's been successful. I don't get it.
He has been successful. I mean, they've kind of fallen apart here towards the end. I'm not saying it makes sense for them. I'm just wondering if it happens. Is he a guy you'd look at? You'd want to replace Gruden with him?
If he can turn Kirk Cousins into Drew Brees, I'm all for it.
Right. But that's huge
absolutely.
if.
Well, and let's. I'm not putting this out there per se, but Drew Brees is a $30 million cap hit next year for New Orleans on his last year of his contract.
Youch.
He might not be in New Orleans either if things keep on going south.
I mean, it's just interesting because they've had such a fire sale. It's like they're a team that at this point they maybe should shed the last vestiges of this past era and start something new.
And start over.
You know?
I couldn't. That'd be so hard to see
crazy.
him leaving
Yeah.
New Orleans Saints. He is the New Orleans Saints. You
Right.
know, he's
Yeah.
brought new life to that franchise that had nothing.
You know
Well,
what?
that was
before he
about to
came there.
move.
Well, I see maybe a different option would be them extending him a couple years and spreading that cap hit out and then get him out to the end of his career. 'Cause what is he, 35, 36?
36.
So he's got a couple more years
Yeah,
out there, even
something
if
like
it's
that.
like a dead year at the end. That's probably what I would think.
Yeah.
That'd be far more likely.
Well, I'm just saying, no one keeps a quarterback at $30 million a year, no matter who he is.
Yeah, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, quarterbacks aside, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, being somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of faith in Jay Gruden, doesn't like him, I'm intrigued by this idea. I kind of have my eyes on who might be becoming available in terms of coaches next year. This is an option. We should think about it.
I can think of a couple too. Josh McDaniels from the Patriots. He didn't do well when he was with the Broncos, but he can sure draw up an offense, and it's basically the same style we're running now, but just called better, I would say.
And how many coaches can you think of that didn't do well in their first stints as head coaches, but did much better the second time?
It's most.
That's that's a big contingent of them.
Sean McDermott from the Panthers, the defensive coordinator.
we
Nice.
apparently interviewed him way back when, too, when we hired Gruden.
Yeah.
McDermott was a defensive coach we actually interviewed, which is rare for the Redskins.
And that's, I think, would be the direction I would go if this ever even happened, and assuming Gruden's fired or something. I would get a defensive coach, let him take care of all that, and then just get an offensive coordinator and let him be the mad scientist, behind the scenes running everything for that.
I wouldn't, and this is just a philosophical thing to me. I think Scott McLuhan is a defensive-minded GM, so going defense on the coach, you're going to get lopsided.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Well, it would be nice to see a nice, competent Washington defense anyways.
Yeah.
But
I have a suspicion that Sean Payton's going to go to USC or somewhere like that. He'll get a big-time college deal.
College?
could be. I don't know. He's one of those interesting cases because they've kind of fallen apart towards the end. Mm-hmm. And he's got, the Bounty Gate scandal or whatever. He missed a year from suspension. He's one of those guys that you could see, you're not sure what the offers would be for a guy like that. What's the market for a guy like that? He's certainly not a top-tier coach, but he's obviously not a bottom tier either.
No, but he would command a big salary. He would be one of those 6 to 8 million guys easy.
Yeah. So, interesting to think about. We will keep that in mind, obviously, as the season comes to a close. But to get back to the Saints game and back to Mr. Breeze specifically, let's talk about what he has been doing and the New Orleans offense has been doing this year, because it's been pretty remarkable. Steve, with the stats, I'm sure can hit us with it in a second, but I believe in terms of total passing yardage a game and potentially total yardage, though I'm not sure, they are number one in the league. They have like 350-something passing yards that they average a game. Steve, do you have those numbers by any chance?
Passing for the Saints?
Yeah, just talking Saints, passing.
Yeah, they're number 4 in points, number 1 in total yards, number 2 in passing yards, number 4 in passing yards per attempt. Breeze has a 102.8 quarterback rating, which is good for 7th in the NFL. He's passed for 2,700.
That blows my mind that's 7th in the NFL.
He's already passed for 2,763 yards, and he's only played eight of the 9 games because he was hurt one game.
Even when they're bad in terms of record, that's what the Saints offense is like, and Drew spreads it around.
Yeah,
and he's doing it without Jimmy Graham too.
Exactly.
Well,
absolute offensive juggernaut. They had that kind of fluky, I feel like, loss to Tennessee last week. Did you guys see that game by any chance?
I didn't see any of it. I did start Marcus Mariota.
Nice.
In fantasy, because I think, the one we'll get to it later, but their defense is a sieve in New Orleans. So
Yeah, well, we definitely will have plenty to talk about there, but just in terms of their offense, Tennessee kind of lucked out with the win there, particularly with that. I'm blanking on their name. Oh my God, what is the Tennessee tight end's name? Good Lord.
Oh,
Delaney Walker.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh my God,
I have him on my fantasy team too. I love Delaney Walker right now.
he's a solid player, and he had a crazy touchdown catch last week. I believe it was him who, like, two Saints bobbled the ball, and then he pulled it down and scampered into the end zone. Awesome play, but it was one of those fluky plays that they kind of ended up winning off of. That and a hilarious missed Kai Forbath field goal attempt, if you didn't notice that.
I think I saw a couple dozen highlights of that getting posted somewhere on Twitter.
He had the chance to score the go-ahead field goal for the win, misses it, though I think somebody got a hand on it, go to overtime, lose to Tennessee. So that was their heartbreaking loss last week. Before that, 3 straight wins in a row.
Yeah. They had the shootout with the Giants.
Yep, and that was, and 2 other formidable teams, though, again. I don't know what's wrong. My brain's Swiss cheese today, guys. I'm forgetting who they were.
Yeah, you're playing too much Fallout. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is a problem. Ladies and gentlemen, the video game Fallout came out, and just forgive me for this brief aside, but holy shit, it's good stuff. I know Robbie's playing it. I'm playing it. It's an awesome game. Now, I think our audience might skew a little older, so we probably just lost like 75 viewers. But
screw that. I don't know what the hell Fallout game is.
Yeah, the only Fallout they know is, from the war.
Right, it's a much more terrifying concept.
Blast from the Past movie.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an even more terrifying concept. Jesus, Robbie. What's wrong with you?
Well, the true terror, again, sorry, I took us totally off the rails. The true terror, obviously, is facing this New Orleans offense. So can our defense put up a stop and limit Breeze to what he's been doing all year? Because, again, most in passing yards a game, most in total yards a game.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, yes, they're very potent passing, but Mark Ingram can run the ball, too. Mm-hmm. I mean, he struggled in the beginning of his career, but he's kind of coming into his own now and really starting to crank out some yards in the running game. And the way we've been playing the running game, it's, they're going to either kill us with that or pass, if we can't stop one or the other.
Not to mention Ingram, always a bit of a threat out of the backfield.
Yes. Now,
So,
I will say this. They're not running that well. They're only averaging like 95 rush yards a game, which is bottom half for the NFL, but he is still putting up points like in fantasy. I mean, he's still scoring some.
Sure.
And, I mean, they can get it done, and if there's any team that's going to let them get it done on the ground, it's probably Washington. So,
yeah.
And the Saints are more the type to pass to set up the run.
Yeah.
So, once they get that going, they'll hit you with Mark Ingram to, kind of, wear you down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who is in Washington's secondary that's going to be attempting to block up these passes this week?
Well, I got one name for you. I saw that Joe Barry said that Jerron Johnson has earned his way onto the starting job at strong safety.
There you go. Interesting. So weird. We have not seen much of Jerron since he was signed with a lot of sort of fanfare in the offseason.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know what it was, but when he came in last week, I noticed a difference between him and Robinson. I don't know. I don't know. It seems better. I mean, he seems ready to go and taking advantage. But, I mean, even then, I don't know. I'm not too confident. I mean, why weren't you starting in the first place?
Right. Yeah. Exactly. It's just crazy to think, too, about how much our defense is in flux. I mean, for how many years has our defense been in flux like this with the stopgap guys getting starting spots and people constantly battling? I mean, there's been no sustainability, in our defense.
I mean, I could give you the exact date. It was when Sean Taylor died.
Right.
I mean, that's when everything kind of went kaput in our secondary.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to go back to that, but it's true.
It's taken 8 years to find a replacement, though.
No. I didn't give you a reason for that. I'm just saying that's when it happened.
That's the cutoff. And you're right. You hate to go back to that because everybody talks about it, but it's so true.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
It hadn't been the same since then.
The other good news, though, for this week is that D'Angelo Hall says he's going to play this Sunday.
Interesting.
So we'll actually have him, Culliver, and Breland back on the field at the same time for like the second time all season.
Okay.
Speaking of that trio, real quick, am I the only one who kind of hopes Culver's the third guy on that list?
Well, he is not. What's the deal? What is Culliver's funk?
He's been hurt. That's the funk. He's been hurt.
Yeah.
But he wasn't even playing lights out before he was hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, not that lights out is necessarily a good bar to set, but
No,
I don't think we got a big enough opportunity to really.
Sample
I think
size,
everybody's
to be
stuck on
honest.
his game against the Eagles. I think
Yeah.
everyone's really, they got that stink hasn't worn
well,
off yet.
but he also had a terrible play last week versus the Pats.
that's
And
what I'm saying.
That was his first week back off that injury
Yeah,
too. I mean,
yeah.
he still wasn't. I don't think fully 100% ready to go.
Yeah, it's a shame because I forget the numbers exactly, but I believe we gave him a pretty penny salary.
We did give him a pretty penny salary.
But
So,
what Chris Cooley pointed out in the show, that big pass he gave up wasn't really his fault either. Trenton Robinson bit on another play and gave up the safety help that Culliver was supposed to have.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this. I'd much rather have him out there than Blackman or who are these other guys that we've seen, Dunbar, or whoever they are.
Yeah.
I'd rather see that trio out there than any of these other guys.
Well,
so
Will
I think that
Blackman
is
hasn't been too bad. He's
No, he
played
hasn't
okay.
at all.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
he had his bad game against Mike Evans, but I mean,
Everybody has
Sean,
a
do-
bad game against Mike Evans.
Sean, to
Right.
give you the number, and I think we talked about this last week, and we were just kind of guessing. It's 4 years, $32 million is what we gave Culliver.
Okay. So I mean he certainly hasn't played up to that contract yet,
No.
halfway
Not
through
yet.
his first season.
no.
But anyways, I do feel like this is our optimized trio of cornerbacks, so hopefully that will help. Something's got to give with that. New
Having
Orleans
them
passing
out
attack.
there, having Jared out there, will at least. I think we've actually seen some pretty good stuff done in the secondary, despite the injuries and lackluster play at times from the safety spots. But
Yeah.
hopefully having everybody there can only be a good thing.
Yeah. Well, to flip to the other side, then let's talk a little bit about Kirk Cousins' opportunity here against, I believe, the bottom-ranked defense in the NFL, or 31st, one of the two. They are at the absolute pits.
Oh, they're
in
the
terms
worst.
of
They're the
defense.
worst. I mean,
They're the worst?
Yeah, their rankings. If you want to know, they're 32nd in total points, 31 in total yards, 31 in passing yards, 31 in passing yards per attempt, 29th in rushing yards, 29th in rushing yards per attempt. So they're just awful all the way across the board.
Now, they have had one or two games where their defense just gave up a ton of points that we kind of talked about with the Giants, and I feel like you could even say last week they gave up a lot of points.
Yeah, certainly.
I'm wondering if, a few bad games kind of lopsides those numbers a bit. I haven't looked closely at their entire schedule, but, they've lost some bad teams. That's the most interesting thing.
Here's the thing
about
about their
Right.
schedule. I was thinking about their schedule. They lost at Arizona. They lost at home to Tampa. They lost
Tampa's
at
bad.
They lost at Carolina. They lost at Philadelphia. And then their wins at home against Dallas, at home against Atlanta, at Indianapolis, and then at home against the Giants. The games they've lost have been outdoor games, with the exception of one of them. They lost at home to Tampa, so it's kind of a fluky thing. Maybe I'm sitting here wondering whether they just aren't as good at outside. Because of the nature of their offense.
Here's my thing about their defense. Their biggest liability on that team, on that part of the team, is their corner, Brandon Browner. He's one of the most penalized corners in the NFL. He always gets called for illegal contact or holding or something that gives the offense, another first down and just lets them move the ball more and better opportunities to, get yards. So he puts them in really bad situations a lot. But they still have talent. I mean, they got Cameron Jordan, who has 6 sacks on the year right now.
Right.
They got a rookie that I liked in the draft, Haoli Kikaha. He, I hope I pronounced that right.
I'm glad we didn't draft him.
He's talented, man. He was the league leader or country leader in sacks going out of his senior year at Washington, and now has 4 sacks on the year. I've seen him on film watching the Saints games before, and he's very active. He's not going to be an easy block for either Morgan, Moses, or Trent. And so it's not going to be easy. I mean, they look bad on paper, but they are talented. I mean, they got Stephon Anthony, the guy they drafted in the first round, who's a very talented linebacker and going to grow into his own at some point. So, I mean...
Yeah. I mean, they definitely have some talented players. They are also struggling with injuries, particularly like into this week. I think they have 9 defensive players or something like that on that are in some various state of injury, and some of those linebackers too. So, I mean, I agree. They are, we shouldn't just shrug them off. But again, this is an opportunity that we have to take this season. Take advantage of a decimated team that's just not playing all that well and get a win and stay in third place at least, or get into second in the division.
Given what you kind of just said there, Robbie, it sounds to me like and I know Steve's going to hate this, this is the kind of game where you go in shooting out with the shootout mindset with your offense. You go in throwing deep,
can't do that.
getting penalties.
We're gonna lose that game. We're going to lose.
But
we can't shoot out with the Saints. They scored 52 points
we've got
2
to.
weeks ago.
We've got to, though.
You have to
we
figure
have
out how
no
to
other
slow
choice
them. We
of
don't
beating
have
them.
the ability to score 52 points. You have to slow them down somehow.
Especially if our receivers can't catch the ball.
I agree.
That's the big question is the receivers, but
I mean,
I
again,
feel like,
bottom-ranked defense. If there's ever a time to do it, you got to do it now.
You know
And
what,
there's
though?
no
We're
other
a
way to beat the
bottom-ranked
Saints other than to
offense.
score.
We're a bottom-ranked
Yeah.
offense. You're
not wrong.
It's
so
it
is
goes
Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, they scored
had their
34
struggles.
points.
Yeah.
Tampa
Again,
put
some of those were
26
fluky.
points up on them.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, too. The Giants, when we played them back a couple games ago, their secondary was like bottom of the NFL, and they shut us down. Like, we got our asses kicked by them. And it's not always going to be what you think. I mean, again, they got talent. They got a good defensive coordinator. They're not performing well. I do think he's a good defensive coordinator. He's especially great at making these crazy exotic blitzes, and that's something that I'm terrified of. Our offensive line picking it up or not. They're gonna have to communicate big time.
I agree with you that he is good. He does drop some interesting blitzes. I've never thought of him as a good coordinator because I'm sorry, the teams he's coordinated just it doesn't show that.
Yeah.
They're
never
constantly bottom half, bottom 5 defenses.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
What's the number, Steve, if you have those on their defense? I mean, do you have stats on sacks or anything
Yeah,
from the
I've
season?
got
I'm
some of
assuming
that.
it's pretty underwhelming stuff.
I've got some of that stuff. They have 19 sacks on the year, which is good for 14th in the NFL. Jordan is their sack leader with 6 sacks. From a passing perspective, the opposing team's quarterback rating is 112 against the Saints, which is good for worst in the NFL, meaning they're making everybody look like Tom Brady, basically.
See? I'm telling you. Shootout
That's like
time.
us last year.
Yeah, it's like us last year. There's no doubt we'll have to open up the offense. We can and we should. I'm just saying, the Saints put up 52 points, man. Their offense, as bad as their defense is, their offense is that explosive.
Their offense is their defense.
Yeah.
Right, exactly right.
Well, and when I said shootout, Steve, I didn't mean like you got to go high scoring. I meant that you have to test their defense early and often with deep balls. Try and find a weak spot because it sounds like that's the way to move the ball against them. Get them to make some penalties. See if we can get Deshaun Jackson actually to do what he needs to do to make this offense work.
Right. Yeah. Great call out, by the way. I'm so glad you brought up the man Djax, the great nipple twister from the East. If you caught the story today, like
and
Alex.
if you didn't come close, kids, I'll show you what happened.
That little fucker got my nipple.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do we feel about that? By the way, the underperforming, overpaid prima donna wide receiver twisting or giving the coach a purple nurple. Do we feel good about this? Do we feel bad about
couldn't
this?
care less.
Do we not have
It's
opinions?
It's lighthearted fun. I think they all, like Coach Gruden. I think they all have a good rapport with him. I don't think there's any disrespect with that people want to look at. I think it's just them having fun on a Thursday practice. That's their last hard practice. On Friday they go on travel, so Thursday's like a walkthrough almost.
Yeah.
Well, look, I don't want to speak for Coach Jay, but he didn't look too happy when it happened. That's for sure. I don't know, and he had a rebellious streak in his younger days. I don't know if maybe he has a piercing there that he was afraid of getting grabbed or something like that. But
yeah, tattoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know it's lighthearted and it's stupid, but can you imagine what would happen if somebody pinched Belichick's nipple. Like, they would turn up in like a trunk, or like at the bottom of a river somewhere.
I don't.
Belichick would shed his skin and be like an alien that jumps out and just eats him.
Yes, just
Some
instantly
like
eats the
demonic
guy's face.
Or
thing
he
that
wouldn't
sucks
even
him into
notice.
Right.
It would be one of the other extreme. He wouldn't even flinch.
Right. Or you just reach in there and it's just like a dial or a knob because he's a football robot. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Anyways,
Error.
It was a lot of fun to see. That's definitely going to be the highlight video of the week.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, well, anyways, I mean, I'm glad you brought it up because, good Lord, Deshaun, we need you, man. We need you to have a game. Please have a game this Sunday and help us score some points.
twist some nipples of some free safeties and,
Just do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do, man. Don't hurt yourself. Stay on the field. Otherwise, man, D-Jax is in trouble in terms of his prospects on this team.
Well, I will say, since people were posting a lot of videos of practice today, he had an amazing catch in practice. He was right along the sideline at the pylon, and he just made a perfect fingertip catch. Pushed off the corner a little bit, but just an amazing catch on a not great thrown ball by. I was told it was Colt, but I couldn't really tell.
See, maybe they just need to get their chemistry back. He's been gone for so long the whole season. That was their first game.
Yeah.
He didn't throw to him a lot, but he still wasn't that healthy. You can tell that he wasn't really ready for that game.
He does have to feed him the ball. Am I right? I mean, he's got to get
for
5 or
sure.
6 passes his way to get him in rhythm.
I mean, let me ask you guys this. What does D-Jax have on the season in terms of receiving yards? Like 20? 10?
No,
something?
not even
less,
that,
less
I
than
don't
that
think.
even?
Very few.
So what's an acceptable number to you for him to get to the end of the season for you to feel confident bringing him back?
End of the season?
Yeah,
There's no-
through the end
there's
of the
no
season,
number.
how many yards?
There's no number.
Yeah.
No
you just
number?
have to see him play like D-Jax.
Yeah.
I got to see him beat people.
If he passes the eye test for me, then I'll be fine.
I guess that's true. It's sort of hard to demand a certain statistical output for somebody on this offense.
I'll give you a number, Sean. If you see him make 4 or 5 plays where he's getting past the secondary and getting those 40, 50-yard long passes, that's what you want to see.
Right.
Because word is, and when you're watching it on TV, you can't really tell. He wasn't beating the corners at all last week.
No. Right.
So if he can start doing that again, fine. I've always said the thing that worries me about a guy like Jackson is once his speed's gone, he loses all his value.
Yeah.
And speed receivers, he's around that age where that can start to happen.
Yeah.
It's not unheard of. At 28, 30, guys lose that elite speed.
Right.
So
Right. Definitely a concern. Mm-hmm. Well, we shall see. Time will certainly tell. Special teams, probably not much to preview other than it'll be nice to see Kai Forbath back at FedEx Field. Though in a Saints uniform, again, lost the game for them last week. So Washington fans should feel happy and confident about their new kicker.
I hope somewhere we hear the audio of people shouting Cobra, whenever he gets on the field.
Right.
They have a pretty good punt return game on the Saints. They have a pretty good punt return game. 9.8 yards per return, which is 12th.
Okay.
So it's pretty good.
Nice. Okay. So boot it out. Well, luckily we have a good punter.
Do
Yep.
we though? We
That'll
don't
actually
really have
play
a
into our
good punter.
favor.
Actually, we don't have a good punter.
Oh, guys, if you didn't know, we have a terrible punter.
Well,
guys
I mean,
know,
our
Steve
punter
can
is
tell us.
there are yards per punt, 27th in the NFL.
Is that net or total?
Yards per punt, 43.0 yards per punt, which is good for 27th. So 43 is going to be net. I'm fairly sure.
Yeah.
But point is,
He might not be
we
having a
have
good
20
year. I don't think
no.
he's a bad punter. He might be
That
having
may
a
better
bad
way
year.
of saying it.
Yeah.
I don't think he's having a great year.
No, we kind of talked about it last week. He's kind of been scared or something like that because they are always almost blocking every punt.
Well, it started in week 1 and week 2 with no protection and punts getting blocked. I mean, and him getting tackled.
He has no protection and he has no one going downfield to stop the return. So,
I mean, special teams continues to be the dumpster fire it always was.
Yeah. It's getting better, but still
It is
not
getting
there.
better.
Well, hopefully we will see a continuation of that upward trend then. Do we want to offer score predictions for this game? Do we feel confident to venture a guess?
Why not? We've done it every week so far.
All right, let's do it. I'm going to say, again, I'm going to stick with this. I said shootout. I'm going to stick with semi-high scoring, relatively speaking. I'm going to say a 27-24 victory, Redskins.
I'm with you. I think it is going to be high scoring. I'm even going to go higher than that. I'm going to say 31-28 Redskins.
Cool.
Wow.
We're on the same page.
Yeah.
I'd be happy with that.
Gosh, guys. It's a tough game. I don't know if we have the ability to score that many points. I was going back and looking at this. My original prediction back when we looked at this before, and I said a loss in the beginning. But, look, if we're going to win a game, this may be the one. I like the fact that New Orleans is on the road. They don't seem to be playing well outdoors on the road this year. The line is even, by the way, incidentally, in Vegas.
That actually doesn't bode well for us, does it?
Well, it means they think the Saints are a little bit better team is what it means.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 28-24 victory.
28-24?
We're all close.
I don't think we're going to win this one. I have to base it off of, how we've been playing recently, and they haven't really shown that they're going to improve in two facets of the game, and that's running the football and stopping the run. And until we do that, at least one more game, then I'm not going to really have any confidence that we'll win, because that's what's really killing us. I think we're going to lose this game 35-21.
Okay.
35-21.
Ed, you may be right, Robbie. I'm just trying to be positive. I think I've predicted Redskins to lose every game so far, except maybe Tampa, I think. So I'm trying to be
I think you
positive.
predicted us to lose Tampa even.
Maybe so.
I mean, I usually tend to be positive, but
Steve is the anti-Larry Michael.
it's not that. It's just, we've been burned so many times.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I
And
get it.
I try to be positive, but, I'm at the point where it's, show me.
I try to be
20
realistic.
years of Redskin fandom.
Yeah. I just try to be realistic, and, we lose a lot more than we win.
Well, a bit of good news. I don't know if you guys saw this, but this is, I think, the first practice since week 1 of training camp that all of our active players were healthy and participating in camp today.
Everybody's
Nice.
healthy just in time for our playoff run.
Right. Right.
Very nice.
At least 7-9 gets us in, Robbie.
Elmer Fudd.
7-9 gets us in.
We're hunting for the playoffs.
Yeah, well, good to see them on the field. I mean,
Yeah.
playoffs being a likable possibility or not. Also, I thought this was funny. I don't know if you guys saw, but there's some movie apparently that's getting made called My All-American. It's about a football player, and apparently Colt McCoy was called in to be the Hollywood consultant to keep them accurate to football stuff for the movie.
Oh.
So, good for you, Colt, preparing for your
picked
life
his brain.
post-football. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, kind of a cool story. I don't know anything about the movie, but
Here's what you want to do. Don't throw a ball more than 15 yards downfield ever.
Right. Right. Then you're going to run into this tackle and get hurt and spend the next season on IR.
Right.
Anyways, guys, on that note, that's the show.
Certainly.
We'll see you next time for the Saints post-game recap, so stick around for that and more exciting stuff coming along. So we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Later.
That little fucker got my nipple.